I have an idea for how to fix the Texas offense, but I don't think y'all are going to like it very much. I'll tell you what it is on today's episode of Locked On Longhorns. Intro.
You are Locked On Longhorns, your daily podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You are locked on to the Texas Longhorns. I'm your host, BK Brad Kellner, Texas grad, Austin local, and longtime sports radio host here in the Lone Star State. Thank you for making Locked On Longhorns a part of your day every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. A huge roster construction mistake by Steve Sarkisian, plus a few game balls to hand out from the Longhorns' victory over UTEP. Of course, they're all going to the defense and special teams. We'll get to those in a bit. But first, I've been trying to come up with a plan for the Texas offense going forward. I think we all have, right? And I think I've diagnosed a big reason why things have been going as poorly as they have. And I think that there are a couple of things that Texas can do differently in conference play that will make things look a lot better. It feels like through these first three games that Steve Sarkisian has spent a lot of time looking for answers. Easy for me to say. Instead of just honing in on a few things that Arch Manning and this offense may do well, I say may because I'm not entirely sure that they do anything all that well right now. It feels like Sark is trying to grab bag this thing. And he's just throwing a bunch of crap against the wall and hoping that a few things stick. Like, I've seen some Longhorn fans use the word vanilla to describe this offense. Maybe it looks vanilla because it sucks. If that's your definition of vanilla, then I'm not going to spend too much time arguing there. But it's not vanilla from the standpoint of they're not trying different things. They're trying a lot to get out of this funk. Like if you look at Saturday's game against UTEP in particular, in the running game, just in the running game, they ran outside zone read, inside zone read, quarterback zone, counter read, quarterback counter, power, sweep, quarterback scramble. They tried all of that just in the running game to try to get something going against UTEP because, well, they knew they weren't running the ball effectively. So let's try this instead and see if we can get into a rhythm doing that. And they tried all of that in the run game despite getting one snap from their top two running backs. Obviously, Trey Wisner didn't play. CJ Baxter got hurt on his very first carry. And I'm sitting here watching this game wondering, why are you asking Christian Clark in his first year, Jarrett Gibson in his second year with minimal experience, and James Simon in his first game to be doing all of that, right? Guys with little to no prior experience, why are you asking them to be doing all of that? In terms of personnel, I mean, Texas started the game heavy in 12 personnel, one back and two tight ends on the field. By the end of the game, they were running predominantly out of the spread, running a bunch of zone read with Arch Manning. So they're trying a bunch of different things. It's not vanilla from that standpoint. I think the trying too much is a problem. Like, I think there's too much thinking going on with the Texas players because of all of the different schemes and formations and plays and rules that are being called. Like Sark has spent a lot of time talking about his guys needing to stop thinking so much and stop pressing so much and just go out there and start playing. And I think it's hard to do that when you're giving a young, inexperienced, and injured offense all of these different rules and calls. I mean, we saw it on Saturday. Receivers were running into each other. Running backs didn't know which hole to hit. The offensive line didn't know which guys to block or where they were supposed to be blocking. Obviously, the quarterback hasn't always known where to throw. We've spent a lot of time talking about how he is just missing reads right now in this offense. Like, rather than mastering proficiency in a few different schemes so that these young and inexperienced players can play fast and loose and confident, it feels like they're being weighed down by endless calls and rules until they just lose order and almost forget what they're supposed to do. Like, when your group looks lost out there, I'm saying like a lot. I'm sorry about that. I'll clean that up. When your group looks lost out there, I don't think they need more to think about. Keep it simple, stupid. Y'all ever heard that one before? I get it. Y'all may not like that. That might not be a popular thing because it's limiting Steve Sarkisian's offense, and we love all of the complexities and intricacies and details that a really good Steve Sarkisian has when it's working correctly. And you might say, well, BK, these guys are old enough. The quarterback's in year 3. You've got some of these guys who have been in the program long enough to where they should know the entire playbook. I get it. In a perfect world, you can call and execute 100% of your playbook. Guess what? It ain't a perfect world right now. It's not close to that right now. So maybe dumbing it down is something that can work. Like, stop trying to be a jack of all trades. It's clearly not working. We're 25% of the way through the regular season, and the offense is going backwards. It feels like you're trying more and more things to get it right, and instead you're going in the wrong direction. I would suggest to pare down the playbook dramatically. Some other ways to maybe simplify things on the offensive side of the football. How about you tighten up the rotations at running back and tight end? You don't need 5 of each of those positions playing every week. Put your top guys out there. The guys who are going to be key contributors in your big games against SEC teams. Put your top guys out there with your number 1 quarterback and let them build chemistry together. I get it. You want to build depth, but you can't be interchanging guys because you're trying to give out experience like party favors at a kid's birthday party. In a perfect world, you can do that, but you've got to build enough chemistry and cohesion and build enough confidence with your number 1 offense before you could just say, well, we might need those guys down the road. No, you've got to figure it out with your starters. 23 different players got a snap on offense for Texas against UTEP. And that's without Trey Wisner, DeAndre Moore, and Emmett Mosley V seeing the field. Again, perfect world, you can do that. But right now, you need your quarterback to figure it out with the guys who are actually going to play roles in SEC play. Your 4th and 5th string tight end, I don't expect them to be big factors this year. A couple of other things. Focus more on gap run schemes. I think this offensive line and I think these running backs are way better at that than they are in the zone stuff right now. You want to do both? I get it. You'd like to be the jack of all trades, but you can't right now. Do something in the running game that you are good at to get some consistency when you run the football. That is going to help your offense. That is obviously going to help your young, struggling quarterback. Do something in the run game. Find something you're good at. Do it in practice this week. Something you're good at in practice, and keep working on that and working on that and working on that, and bring that to the game against Sam Houston on Saturday and show that, okay, yeah, even though we're only doing 1 or 2 different things in the ground game instead of 9 or 10, we're good enough at those 2 things to where we can actually be productive on the ground. Speaking of the quarterback, by the way, the most successful play in the Longhorn offense this season has been the quarterback run game. Do it more. I know Steve Sarkisian talks a lot about not trying to major in the QB run game. And he said in his post-game press conference on Saturday that he doesn't want to do athlete football. Well, that's what's working right now. I mean, Steve Sarkisian called 7 designed quarterback runs for Arch Manning against UTEP. That's the most designed QB runs that he's called in a game since at least 2015, head coach or offensive coordinator. So he already is kind of showing that, we might have to do that. I think he realizes that that's the best thing that we have on offense. I know he would love to run the same type of offense he had at Alabama in 2020 when the Crimson Tide won the national championship. Guess what? You don't have those weapons on the outside, and your quarterback's not playing well enough for you to do that right now. The run game with the quarterback, that's been working. Arch Manning averaged 7 yards a carry on those 7 designed quarterback runs. All of your rushing touchdowns this year have been scored by Arch Manning. He has been your most effective runner to this point. That's working. You have to do it. I know you don't want to turn him into Haynes King, but if that's going to help you win games in conference play, do it. Less is more. It feels like Sark is trying to teach too much in practice right now, and it's not clicking, and it's obviously not translating to the games. Focus on a few things, master those, and let's go. This game against Sam Houston is giving Texas one more chance to practice a simpler, more sustainable approach and build confidence heading into the bye week. And then, of course, the crazy October schedule where the Longhorns are on the road the entire month. Sark has to see what's going on. He has to delegate a smarter game plan when the month of October gets here. If not, this season could go off the rails. I think we all agree if the Longhorn offense plays the way it did against UTEP, this is going to be a frustrating year for Texas. I'd love to see that simpler game plan against Sam Houston. I'm not sure we will, because I could see Sark saying, well, Texas, we're 41.5-point favorites against this team. We could try all this other stuff and see more. I'd love to see the simplicity start this weekend by SEC play. I think that's what's going to give this offense the best chance to get the results that are at least close to the ones that we were hoping for at the start of the season. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Would love to hear from y'all in the comments below. Keep it simple, stupid, dumb it down. Less is more, whatever expression you want to go with. I think that's what this Longhorn offense needs right now. All right. I know it's only been 3 games, but I feel pretty secure in saying that Steve Sarkisian made a big mistake with roster construction in the offseason, and it could cost Texas dearly. It already is, and that could continue moving forward. I'll tell you what I mean up next on Locked On Longhorns. Oh, but first, a shout out to our friends at Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right actually means cashing in. With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your sports stakes into real prizes, all in less than 60 seconds. Such a fun way to stay locked in for the entire season. It's quick, it's easy. Honestly, it's my favorite way to follow along with football all year long. The best part, even if one of your picks misses, Prize Picks invented the flex play so you could still double your money. Download the Prize Picks apps today and use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, welcome back to Locked On Longhorns, your team every day. Something that I don't feel good about being right on. You know, Texas went out and brought in 11 transfers from the portal this past offseason. They brought in 5 interior defensive linemen, an edge rusher, a kicker, a punter, a wide receiver, a tight end, and a quarterback. There's your 11 right there. A lot of different positions there to address a lot of different holes on the roster. One glaring omission from that list: offensive line. Despite losing 4 offensive linemen from 2024, and it wasn't just 4 Jags up front. You lost a top 10 pick at left tackle, guy who won the Lombardi and the Butkus Award last year. I should say the Lombardi and the Outland Trophy last year. You can't win the Butkus Award. You lost your center, who started more games for you than any other offensive lineman in school history. And you lost 2 other guys who were drafted into the NFL. Instead of going out and bringing in some sure thing replacements, Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood decided that they were good. Hey, we don't need to bring in anybody else because what we have here is good enough. You look around the country, a bunch of other teams in this conference and around college football, they went out and brought in 1, 2, in some cases 3 offensive linemen to replace some guys that they lost. Texas, despite losing 4 O-line starters, brought in 0, which, hey, okay, if that works, no problem at all. If this Texas offensive line looked really good, then no one's complaining about it through 3 games. I like betting on yourself. That's what Texas tried to do. But when it doesn't work, you open yourself up for criticism. And the way this offensive line has played so far this year, the door is wide open for criticism. Trevor Gooseby is the only above average offensive lineman that Texas has right now. Of the 5 guys who are starting, and you can include some of the guys we've seen off the bench as well, Trevor Gooseby is the only one who looks above average. I think he's really good, but that's it. That's all you have right now. I mean, this group couldn't get a push against San Jose State last weekend, and this was supposed to be a big bounce back week against an even worse opponent in UTEP. You were hoping, all right, yeah, put that San Jose State game behind you. You should maul this undersized group at UTEP. No, they got less of a push against the Miners than they did the week prior. They look poorly trained. Like, I'm not even sure where they're trying to block when they run zone blocking right now. They're better in man blocking because that's easy, hat on hat, but they're not pushing people back. And I'll throw the tight ends in there too. You're running 12 personnel because you think that can help your run game out a little bit. I think that's part of the reason why Sark is calling that as much as he is right now. Your tight ends aren't doing their job either. 12 personnel is almost useless when you get 0 from the tight end position in run blocking. There's just not a push up front. Texas averaged just 4 yards a carry against UTEP. And here are some damning numbers here. Damning numbers. Going back to the Clemson game in the first round of the college football playoff in December, Texas has just one run of 15 yards or more since then. They've had 142 carries in that time frame. So the rest of the games from last year and the first 3 games this year, they've had 142 carries as a team in that stretch. Just one of them have gone for more than 15 yards. That was an 18-yarder by C.J. Baxter last week against San Jose State. Now, some of that is on the running backs. And again, not having Trey Wisner last week and this week hurt. But, man, the holes just aren't there up front. And the offensive line is just not getting the push that they should get. And that's so surprising after what they did against Ohio State. I thought they won more often than not against the Ohio State defensive front. And I felt pretty confident about what that unit was going to be because of the way they played in Columbus. And instead, they have gone backwards since then. Looking at just the UTEP game, here's another pretty damning stat. James Simon averaged 3.9 yards a carry against the Miners. He averaged 4.2 yards after contact. Do the math there. That tells you where James Simon was getting hit. And that tells you how bad the offensive line was playing against UTEP at home. Texas had 4-and-1 situations in the first quarter on Saturday, where it was 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, first and goal from the 1. They had 4 of those in the first quarter on Saturday. They went 0 for 4. Like, you should be able to go 3 for 4 against Ohio State, against Georgia. They went 0 for 4 against UTEP. They can't get 1 yard against these G5 teams. The situational running has been a problem all season long. Even in the Ohio State game, obviously. 4th and goal from the 1 yard line. And that one, you couldn't get the push up front. You couldn't score. You lose the game by a touchdown. It's unbelievable how bad they look. UTEP had 5 TFLs in the game. 12 of Texas's 56 rushing attempts went for 0 yards or less. And I'm sorry for all the numbers, but it's not just the run blocking issues. Arch Manning has been pressured on 36.8% of his dropbacks so far this season. That's more than any other quarterback in the SEC. Now, some of that's on Arch. He's holding on to the ball too long. He's not finding his open receivers. His struggles are well documented, but it's not all on Arch. A lot of that falls on the offensive line, not getting the job done in pass pro either. So I don't know what Texas does. Again, we talked about it in segment 1, dumbing it down, simplifying things, maybe asking the offensive line to do less can help. But 4 of 5 O-line starters played every single snap against UTEP. That's not because they were playing so well that we just can't take them out. That was because they were playing so poorly that Steve Sarkisian and Kyle Flood felt like they needed more reps. We got to get these guys figured out. Didn't happen. DJ Campbell, 5 penalties in 3 games. He's the lone returning starter. Saturday was start number 33 for him. When will he figure it out? Start 40? Start 41? Start 42? He's not good enough. Cole Hudson has been very average at center. He and Campbell are your 2 most experienced guys. You're getting nothing from them right now. Connor Stroh was a pleasant surprise in game 1. He has been really bad since at left guard. Brandon Baker, I thought he actually had his best game of the season on Saturday. He was okay in pass pro, but he's had penalty problems. He's not good enough in run blocking. He just doesn't look strong enough right now. So I just don't know if you have any solutions in-house. You could try Neto Umeozulu at left guard. You could maybe put Connor Robertson in there at center. We saw some of that on Saturday. Robertson at center, Hudson at left guard. Maybe you bring Nick Brooks in at right tackle. I don't know. I wish there was an in-season transfer portal or a trade market or something to fix this, but obviously there's not. You've got to figure it out with what you've got. But, man, I know we're only 3 games into the year, but I think it's safe to say that Sark and Kyle Flood made a pretty massive mistake not bringing in at least 1 offensive lineman from the portal. They probably needed 2 or 3. They didn't even get 1. They've got to wear this if the offensive line can't turn things around. All right. We try to end on a high note. We didn't do that yesterday. We're going to try to do it today. There were a number of really good individual performances from the win over UTEP. So let's give out a few game balls. Spoiler alert, nobody on the offensive line, nobody on the offense in general is getting one, but the defense or the special teams, we got to give those guys their flowers. We'll do that next right here on Locked On Longhorns. Oh, but first, college football is back. I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless lines, hidden fees, prices randomly jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with zero surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. The app is super simple to use. You can even see the exact view from your seat before you press purchase. It's faster, it's cheaper, and it's less stressful than any other way that I bought tickets in the past. I use Game Time all the time, and I'm going to continue using it in the future. So take the guesswork out of buying your college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, welcome back to Locked On Longhorns, your team every day. What keeps getting lost in the Longhorns' offensive nightmare is how well the defense and special teams played on Saturday against UTEP. Both units collectively were really good. I mean, the defense held UTEP to 4.4 yards a play, forced a couple of turnovers. UTEP averaged just 2.2 yards a carry. Texas had 6 TFLs. They had 2 sacks. UTEP was just 4 of 18 on 3rd and 4th down. I know the last-minute touchdown, Steve Sarkisian talked about it yesterday. He didn't love it, but I'm okay with the garbage time touchdown when you have a bunch of 3rd and 4th stringers in. The defense did its job again. And then special teams. Your return game was the best it's been all season by far. Your kicker went 2 for 2 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. Jack Bowmeister was solid again at punter. Collectively, those groups deserve some love. And individually, there are some guys within those units who really stood out for me. And we'll start with the defense, and we will start with Ethan Burke. Ethan Burke had perhaps the best game of his college career on Saturday. I mean, he was everywhere. He was the highest graded Longhorn, according to Pro Football Focus. Offense, defense, special teams, it didn't matter. He was the highest graded player from the game. 5 tackles, which was 3rd on the team, had a half a TFL as well. He was fantastic in run support. Even when he didn't make the tackle, he was pushing guys back to give others opportunities to make plays. I mean, he was where he needed to be on what felt like every single snap. We continue to see some improvement from him as a pass rusher as well. It's all really starting to come together for the senior. It's a contract year for Ethan Burke, his last year of eligibility. He looked like an NFL guy on Saturday. It's great to see. He is a great kid. Had a chance to interview him every week last season on my Texas Sports Unfiltered show. Just a great guy, comes from a great family. And again, on the field, it's all coming together for number 91. Love to see it. Couldn't happen to a better dude. Another game ball, Grayson Littleton. You know, Littleton was one of the biggest stars from the Ohio State game. And then if we're being honest, he kind of got picked on by San Jose State in game 2. They targeted him 15 times, and he gave up 7 receptions on those 15 targets. Like, he looked like an all-conference caliber senior in game 1, and then in game 2, he showed some signs of looking like a true freshman. Understandable. He is a true freshman, and that was his second career collegiate game. Well, he bounced back. He looked like an all-conference caliber senior again on Saturday. Had his first career interception. You saw how excited he was after that pick. He was targeted just 4 times in the game. Gave up 1 catch for 2 yards. That'll play. And obviously one of those targets turned into the interception. That will definitely play. Kudos to Grayson Littleton. Texas has something special with him. Nice bounce back. And in 2 out of the 3 games, he's been really, really good. You see why he's earning the reps that he is earning. Another game ball. Last one on defense here. The Ohio State transfer, Hero Kanu. I'll be honest, I didn't think Hero Kanu was going to be as big of a part of the D-line rotation as he's been. Like, I knew he was going to play. I just thought he'd be like a second or third teamer. I thought he'd be maybe fourth or fifth in terms of defensive tackle snaps on this team this year. Instead, Hero Kanu is leading all Texas D tackles in snaps through these first 3 games by 23, by a wide margin. It's not like, oh, he's got 1 or 2 more snaps than the next guy. No, he's playing significantly more than anybody else that Texas has on the defensive line. And of course, Alex January has missed the last 2 games, which has opened up some more opportunities for Hero Kanu, but he's made the most of them for sure. He had a sack and 2 TFLs against the Miners. He is coming into his own. And again, didn't play much for Ohio State last year, so I wasn't sure what to expect. And there have been times in the past where Texas has gotten players from like other blue blood teams, and it's just it didn't really translate here in Austin. Maybe my UTSD was kicking in when thinking about Hero Kanu expectations, but he, again, a sack and 2 TFLs on Saturday. He's getting a bunch of run, and he is earning it right now with the way that he's playing. Tip of the cap to Hero Kanu, maybe the best game on the team, best name on the team as well. And then last but not least, I referenced it earlier, the return game. Shout out to Ryan Niblett. Like, I've been pretty critical of Ryan Niblett as this team's punt returner this year, and I've been asking Steve Sarkisian and Jeff Banks to consider other options back there. Well, he shut me up with some of the plays that he made against the Miners. 3 returns for a total of 72 yards, including a 49-yard return as well. Look, at this point, with the way the offense is playing, Texas needs just about every yard that it can muster on special teams. Good on Ryan Niblett. Good on the entire Texas return team for setting up the necessary blocks, and the execution was by far the best we've seen all season. I still think Ryan Niblett needs to catch the ball more. He still let a punt bounce and roll for a while on Saturday. That bothers me to no end, especially now that we've seen Ryan Niblett and what he can do with the ball in his hand. Like, dude, go catch the ball. You can make some guys miss. You're one of the fastest guys on the team. If you catch the punt, you can be a weapon. And again, this offense needs weapons right now. So that third phase can really help Texas by giving them some short fields for the offense to work with. That's something that can still be improved upon for Ryan Niblett. But again, without question, his most impressive day returning punts, and just that unit as a whole did a really, really good job. So there are your 4 game balls: Ethan Burke, Grayson Littleton, Hero Kanu, Ryan Niblett. You could hand out a few more, again, with the way the defense and special teams played, but those are the guys who stood out to me the most. I hope when we do this exercise next week, a couple of offensive players can get these game balls, because it's a big deal to be gifted a Locked On Longhorns game ball. Huge deal. I know it is. We all know it is. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Hey, it's a huge deal that you made it this far. If you did, thank you very much. Please remember to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment. That's one of the fastest ways to help us grow, and it's also your way for you to get involved with the show. Really do appreciate y'all making Locked On Longhorns a part of your day. For your next listen, check out Locked On Bets with my man Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers. They're your one-stop shop for all of your sports betting needs, expert analysis, game picks, the lock of the day. They've got you covered. Find Locked On Bets on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We'll have some sound from Steve Sarkisian on tomorrow's show. And again, more Texas football conversation. We'll put the UTEP game to bed and start to focus more on the future for the 2025 Longhorn football team. But that'll do it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, horns up, mics off. We'll see y'all soon. This is Locked On Longhorns.